Hello and welcome to GameRules.com. Today I'm going to teach you how to play Lucky Jack. Lucky Jack is a nice mix between rummy and hand shedding, where the object of the game is to get your hand down to 3 or 4 cards of the same suit. And if you're able to do that first, you will score points based on that suit. Now, this was a fan request by Michael Wade. He asked on the Phase 10 video if I could do a video over this game. And I am happy to oblige. And in fact, I'm glad he pointed this game out because I'm pretty sure I would have passed over this had it not been brought to my attention. This is a fun little game. Let's dive in and see how to play. Out of the box, you will get an instruction booklet, an 84 card deck, 3 reference cards, and a little score pad. And I'd also like to point out that there is a larger copy of the reference card on the back of the instruction booklet. So you would be able to put this out in the center of the table for players to see. The deck is composed of 7 suits, and there are 12 cards in each suit. And suits are ranked from highest to lowest in the following order. Jacks are the highest, then sevens, then bells, then clovers, then grapes, then cherries, and finally lemons at the bottom. Each card does have the suit ranking structure on the face of the card, so you're able to tell where your card stands in that ranking structure. The object of the game is to get your hand size down to 3 or 4 cards of the same suit. And the goal is to do that first, to do it before anyone else. And if you're able to do that, you will earn points based on your 3 or 4 of a kind. So you can see your jacks are worth 7,000 points for a 3 of a kind, sevens are worth 6,000, and so on down. And of course, you earn more points for ending the round with a 4-card jackpot, or a 4 of a kind, 10,000 points for 4 jacks, 8,000 points for 4 sevens, and so on down. Let's get into the game setup and how to play. To set up the game, determine a dealer. That player shuffles the deck and then deals out 7 cards to each player. The rest of the cards are then placed face down. The top card is turned over to begin the discard pile. Play then begins with the person seated left of the dealer. For this example, we will say that the game is beginning with the player at the bottom of the screen. On a player's turn, you have 4 options to pick from, and you must complete one of the options. The first is to discard a card from your hand that matches the symbol on the top card of the discard pile. So the game begins with a jack turned up. For that first option, our player would have to discard a jack. If they chose to do that, that would end their turn and play would pass left. The next option a player has is to discard a card of a higher value rank. Since jacks are the highest rank, this is not an option, but if we were playing with cherries as the top card of the discard pile, our player could discard 1 card of any higher ranking suit. So they could get rid of their bell, or their clover, or their jack. The third option a player has is to discard a card of a lower value. But there is a penalty for this. So if player 1 were to discard their clover, they would have to draw 2 cards as penalty. Remember, the objective of the game is to try to get down to 3 or 4 cards of a matching suit in order to end the round and score points. But in this example, our player drew 2 cherries. So you might see that as a good thing. The fourth option a player has is to simply draw a card. When they draw, they can either choose to keep the card or discard it. If they choose to discard it, the player who goes next has the opportunity to take it. As soon as that card is discarded, if the player chooses, they may say, "I'll take it," and they can take the card from the discard pile and add it to their hand. The game would then proceed as normal. So if a player discarded the card and the next player chooses to take it, they would still take their next turn. For this example, we will have our first player discard their jack. That ends their turn, and play passes left. Player 2 then has all of the same options. They can either discard a matching suit, discard a higher suit, which is not an option here because jacks are the highest suit. They can discard a lower suit and draw 2 penalty cards, or they may simply draw a card. Well, they are going to go ahead and discard their jack as well. Play then passes to the next player, and they are going to do the same. They're going to discard their jack. Play passes back. We are at player 1. Now they have no option but to either discard a lower suited card or to draw a card. And that is what they're going to do. They're going to draw, and it's a cherry. That ends their turn. Play passes. They are going to go ahead and discard this lemon. It is a lower suited card, so they must draw 2 as penalty. Play then passes. Now this player has the option to discard a lemon or a card of a higher ranking suit, or a lower ranking card for penalty, or to simply draw a card. Those are always your 4 options. Well, since they already have their 3 of a kind, this 3 grapes, they're going to go ahead and discard. And they're going to discard this 7. Play then passes. Let's go ahead and continue the round. Player 2 does not have anything lower or anything higher or equal, and they will just simply draw a card. It's a cherry. They do not want it. The next player does not want it, so they do not take it. They're able to discard their clover, and they end the round by laying down their 3-card hand and saying, jackpot. Now, before we get into scoring, I want to point out that player 3 did not have to go out and say jackpot. If they wanted to play risky, they could keep their hand at 3 cards and try to get a 4th grape card. However, you should keep in mind that you may never go down below 3 cards. And if you choose to do that and another player goes out with a jackpot, you will score nothing for the round. So there's a little more reward for getting a 4-card jackpot, but there's also a greater risk at scoring nothing because you are taking longer to get it. Now let's go ahead and get into scoring. So the round is ended with player 3 getting a jackpot in the grape suit. So that would earn them 3,000 points. At the beginning of the game, players will agree on whether they are playing a 3-round game or a 5-round game. At the end of the round, you write who won the round in this column and their score in this column. At the end of the final round, whichever player has earned the most points wins the game. Once a round is complete, collect all of the cards, deal passes left from the previous dealer, be sure to thoroughly shuffle the deck, and you will continue playing rounds until the end of the game. And that's how to play Lucky Jack. So as I said at the beginning of the video, this is a nice mix of rummy and shedding. There are some rules regarding how to play cards to the discard pile. And of course, you're trying to create a set of 3 or 4 cards. However, unlike rummy, where your hand size can grow or shrink and you're trying to do as many sets and runs as possible, with this game, you just want 1. And you want it to be as high a scoring set as possible. So you're constantly balancing how fast do I want to be able to go out with the point value that you're going to go for. Are you going to play more risky and go for those higher point cards that you might not have enough of? Or are you going to go with the gimme? Like you started off with 2 or 3 lemons and you're like, you know what? I'll just take those points. If you found this tutorial helpful, the best thing you can do is subscribe, ring the bell, give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions about this game, or if you'd like to see a tutorial for another game, let me know down in the comments. I've got a playlist of card game tutorials for you right here. And of course, if you would like to read the rules for a growing library of games, you can head over to gamerules.com. I have a link down in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep on playing.